Hello there. Hello there. All right, we are here with the blueprint, how to get an agent who'll get me auditions. So I get this question all the time about, I need an agent, I want to move to TV and film, but I don't have an agent. I need an agent, as if an agent is going to solve all the problems in the world, right? And it can't just be any agent. It has to be an agent who will fight to get you auditions. So before we talk about why this isn't happening, even with people who do have agents, because there's something that has to be happening on your end in order for an agent to send out a submission of you for a part. And then for you to actually get the audition, you have to be hot in the industry right now. Or have tons of credits. What if you're none of those things? You have to create your own heat, right? That's what agents and casting directors are looking for. Someone with heat. It doesn't even have to be the person that books all the time. It has to be someone with heat. Right now, okay? And we're gonna talk about how you create that heat. Because you wanna move into TV and film to make money. Otherwise, you just do theater in the regions or off Broadway for the whole of your career. You want to work in TV and film to make money. Guess why managers and agents are working in TV and film? To make money. Everybody's on commission. Casting directors, agents, managers. If you don't book the job and collect a check and collect residuals, guess what? Casting directors, agents, and managers don't get their 10 or 15%. Everybody is working on commission, okay? So let me disavow everyone of this one thing right now. I didn't get the job because I wasn't talented. I want you to depersonalize this, and I know it's very hard for artists because they're like, I really felt what was going on in that scene, and I really felt connected to it. The assumption is that you're connected to the scene and did brilliant work. Otherwise, you never would have got the audition. Okay? A casting director who's casting a television show has to cast 60 roles in about a week. And that's a workday week, Monday through Friday. 60 people, 60 roles, right? They maybe have to see 3 or 4 or 5 people for each role in one episode. They don't have time to call in someone who they know won't give a good audition. That's not why you're being called in to audition. You are never being called in to audition to find out if you're talented. That's never happening because you wouldn't get the audition if you weren't. They look at your headshot, they look at your resume, they look at who you've worked with, they look at the kind of work you've done, they look at the kind of roles you've played. They look at where you train, they look at who your personal coach is, they look at all of that. And then they see if they've seen you in a showcase or in some off-Broadway something or other. Or they look at your reel, which is on your website. And if your reel isn't on your website and it's not TV ready, then there's your answer why you don't have an agent or a manager or, any TV jobs. Need a website, need an IMDb page, need a reel, resume, first off. So the assumption when you get an audition is that you can already act and that you are going to leave blood on the floor. It's surprising if you don't. That's not why you're called into audition. Remember, people are casting an entire film or an entire movie. People are related in the movie. People have power dynamics in the movie. It's a period movie. It's a family that they're trying to create. There are so many factors that make you not right for the role in television and film because it's not about are you talented. It's about how can I fit you in this world and do you make sense? If you look at auditions that way, it takes all of the pressure off of you. You're just going in and have a good time and act. And every time you go in and have a good time and act, that ensures that you'll get called in again. And every time you go on camera, that audition gets sent to the directors and the producers of the show. If they really like you, it gets sent to the directors, the producers of the show, and network. They have a conversation. They decide if they're going to hire you or they're going to go with the other person. They may go with the other person, but guess who has seen your audition? The major producers, the major decision makers at the network, the director, who is also directing this show, but also a movie and 5 other shows. Every time you audition and go on tape, it is an opportunity to make a connection with someone who can give you a job. So go in and audition your heart out. And the only thing that agents and managers want from you is to smell your heat. And heat is defined as, I got a callback. I got a screen test. The casting director called and asked for me. An agent submitted me for a role, and the casting director called me in. The agent didn't have to follow up with a phone call. The agent didn't have to push. The casting director said, great, here's the appointment time. That says to that agent, whoa, it's easy to get them on-camera auditions. And let me tell you, on-camera auditions are not easy to get because most things are on offer. So if you actually get the audition, that means there are a lot of people loving you, right? It means that people believe that you can bring the heat. Whether or not the director feels like you can fit into this world based on who else he's casting and where he's casting and all that jazz is where the final decision lies. But you have complete control over what you do in that room. You have complete control over the kinds of relationships you build with casting directors to make it easier for your agent to get you appointments. You have control over listening and responding. You have control over being off book by rote so that you can really work moment to moment instead of trying to create moments, which actors always do on camera, because that's what you do in theater. It doesn't work on camera. It doesn't. The language won't hold it. You look like you're overacting. All you're doing on camera is listening and responding. If you're trying to remember lines because you've rehearsed that scene with those lines attached to an acting moment, guess what happens when you go in the audition and that acting moment doesn't exist because that's not what the reader is giving you? You forget your line. That is the quickest way to piss off a casting director. The very quickest way to piss off a casting director is for them to turn on the camera and for them to watch you trying to remember the line. Okay? Who just joined us? Hello.
Hello, how are you doing today?
Hi, who's this?
My name is Ted from Massachusetts.
Tell me your name again, I'm sorry.
Ted from Massachusetts.
Hi, Ted, welcome.
Sorry I'm late.
That's okay. We're talking about what creates heat around an actor's career. And heat is all an agent needs to sign. Heat doesn't mean you're the person booking all the time. Heat means you're the person auditioning all the time. Heat means that when you see a casting director casting something, if you want it to, because you built a relationship with that casting director, you could shoot them an email and be like, can I get an audition for this? Can I have my agent contact you? And that casting director, because you have a relationship with them, says yes. And then your agent submits you, and you shoot your agent an email. Oh, I was having a class with this casting director. She said there's something I'm really right for. Can you submit me? They'll be like, what? And that happens all the time. That's heat. It means you have the kinds of relationships that are going to ensure that you're called in regularly. Because it takes 100 auditions to book a job. Hate to be the bearer of bad news. So what agents really need is an actor who is easy to get auditions for, who auditions all the time. That's it. That's it. Now, some of the other things that create heat. Doing your own showcase with a bunch of actors and inviting casting directors and industry people to see you work, right? Being in a play and getting everybody in town to come see you in that play. Getting a guest star or a co-star and sending messages all over town that you're going to be on TV this day. I don't care how small the play is. If you're really great in it, you get everybody out. You do a marketing strategy, you follow up with a phone call. Guess what? All of these strategies to create heat for yourself, none of them work if you don't have relationships with casting directors and agents. And in my emails that I've been sending you, where I've been talking about that targeting process. How do you target people, right? People need to be in connection with you 3 times before they remember who you are. Remembering who you are equals a relationship. That's it. Because what is it that's going to make that person remember who you are? You did great work for them. Great work. Completely off book. Completely listening and responding in the moment. Working moment to moment to moment. All the things within your control. Totally prepared. You didn't go into that class to book the class, right? When you go in with an objective that is out of your control, you're setting yourself up for failure. Right? And that's what we watch, right? In an audition, we watch an actor trying to book it. Instead of being moment to moment, taking in and being surprised by what's said. Which is why my memorization technique of memorizing all of your lines by rote and not the other person's, try it with your coach. Go to your coach one afternoon. I did this for 9 months with my coach. I was like, give me some sides. Coach would give me some sides. I would take all of the lines that are mine, repeat each line 9 times, add a new line, and just memorize my lines. I would never read the other person's lines. And then I would do the same with her. It was always so much better than the auditions I prepared. Why? Because I didn't know what was going to be said to me. So I really had to listen. And once you get that about on-camera acting, it's such a relief. It's so much easier than theater where you have to sculpt and shape moments, right? Make sure they land to the end of the house, you know, the language. Nope, not on camera. And what also makes you hot is when you audition well. And there's only one way to audition well. Audition a lot, rehearse before auditions with a coach, in a class, but work every week on how to do on-camera work. Right? Once you audition well, casting directors remember you. And I get this from clients all the time. They put themselves on tape and they send me, they're like, why didn't I get this audition? Here's the audition I did. And I'm like, I'm watching you act in this tape that you just sent me. I'm watching you trying to get it right. I'm watching you trying to land all the moments of surprise. I'm watching you act. And so is the camera, right? The moment a casting director sees that, they already know what level of expertise you have. And that may not be the truth. It may just be that you need some practice with on-camera acting. But an actor who doesn't know how to listen and respond, like do the real basics and are off book by rote, even if they just got the sides 5 minutes ago, it registers to that casting director, this person is green, maybe I shouldn't call them in for a year until they get more experience. Or maybe I won't call them in until they build something on camera. Right? Not a good way to get heat, to build a relationship, right? This on-camera thing is a skill. It's a muscle you have to work out. And I highly recommend you go back, you listen to the videos. I'll be sending out more videos. You read all of the newsletters with the tips about targeting and memorization and how to use the camera. You start pulling sides from shows that you want to be on that are cast in your city right now that you're right for, and casting directors who you can find a way to get in front of them, either by a class, you know, be a reader for them. But it has to be 3 points of contact in a tight period of time. And then you have to stay in connection with them to remind them that you're here without being annoying. There's a nuanced way to do that. Totally is. Totally nuanced way to do that. But here's the key again. If you have not commanded everything within your power and are doing it excellently, that relationship means nothing. And all you have to get yourself an agent is casting director relationships, because casting directors pick up phones, call agents, and get you signed. Plain and simple. One phone call from an agent, one phone call from a casting director, and you're signed. Just one. One big film, one big play, one New York Times review, right? You make it more likely if you already have relationships with people that you've been targeting. So a lot of times actors are like willy-nilly, well, I'm going to send out my marketing and press materials to everybody, right? There's no plan. There's no plan of action. So I opened this class with disavow yourself of this idea that you're being called in for an audition to see if you can act. That's the first way to depersonalize this. Because essentially, You have to make yourself hot to an agent in order to get signed. And before you can make yourself hot, you actually have to have a relationship with them. You must. You're much more likely to be signed if you have a relationship with a casting director and agent. And people are like, well, how do I do that? I targeted my manager for 5 years. 5 years. I wrote a solo show so she would sign me. Okay, the struggle is real, right? But I didn't do it willy-nilly. I went on IMDb, I researched her, I found the clients that she represented. Some of them I already knew, some I didn't. The ones that I knew, I put in phone calls. And I was like, how do I get her to come to my show? They're like, just keep sending her invitations. And there's some things that she's automatically going to be at. Make sure you walk up to her, give her a card about what you're doing next, and to call you so she can come and see it. Get in front of her, right? And at one point, after 3 years of targeting her, I asked her, why aren't you signing me? And she's like, I don't know what you can do. I don't know what you can do. I have a sense that the work you're doing, you're bigger than the work you're doing, but I haven't seen you cast in anything that shows me where you're doing. I was like, shit. Solution. Write a solo show and get it produced. Now, that's a long way to go to get there. I already wanted to do a solo show, so that helped. But I was also booking other plays. I was also targeting other theater companies that had roles that would show exactly what I could do. I played Medea at the Classical Theater of Harlem. I played Goneril. I played Lady M. I strategically set up a relationship with that theater company to get me New York Times reviews, to get places where people come and see me. I invited my targeted manager and agents and casting directors every single reading at the Lark. I made sure those folks had some place to come and see me all the time, but only after I'd had an initial targeting period with them. I picked up a class. I had a long conversation with them at opening night. I, invited them to something. I showed up at a reading. I showed up at an opening. I targeted them. It's easy to target somebody, Google them, and then solve a problem. Just solve a problem. I coach clients. I even asked this manager, I was like, are you looking for clients right now? What are you looking for? And she told me, and I was like, I have 3 students that are perfect for that. I did her a favor, makes her remember me. The whole key to this business is relationships, not your talent. If you're in the business, you're talented. This is all a matter of whether or not you're right for the role. So, because you're not going to be right for everything, you have to audition more. The way you audition more is to have relationships in place. Plain and simple. And that takes work. It also means that all of your skill set, when you actually do get the audition, because here's what happens when an agent or a manager wants to do a little dance with you. They say, I'm going to freelance you. What they're doing is sending you out on auditions and then calling that casting director to see how you did, to get feedback, right? After 3 auditions, they'll have a sense of what your skill set is, right? Here's the other issue of something that's completely within your power. Nobody, and I mean nobody, in this business signs a person without a reel. Here's why. Agents can't make their living off of the 10% they get off theater, right? Theater in New York City pays $300 a week. 10% of that is what, $30? What agent is living off of that? Agents live off of the commissions they get from their clients that work in television and film. So before somebody even seriously considers you as a possible person they want to sign or work with, they have to see you on camera. That doesn't mean your iPhone. That doesn't mean your janky friend around the corner. It means you went and professionally did a reel. I love Brent Katz's work. Go to his website. It's easy. Brent G. Katz. Like, he's a genius, right? Because he is a filmmaker and an editor. If you don't have the parts, then pull scenes from the shows you want to be on and do a hellified audition tape. But it needs to be industry standard. And if you don't know what industry standard is, you better hire somebody and find out. Okay? Hire somebody and find out, right? And the preface for all of this, getting an agent business, is you have to be financially stable because you're going to have to spend money to make money, right? You're trying to get an agent who's trying to get you jobs that pay you $20,000 an episode. If you're only willing to spend $400 on your career to get a $20,000 job. Guess what you're not getting? A $20,000 job. You're not even getting the shot at a $24,000 job. You need to look like a movie star. You need to look like the people on TV. You're going to be on TV. You're not sure? Take a picture of yourself in your audition outfit with your hair. Load it to your camera. Load it to your laptop. Pull it up. Take a snapshot of an episode of Scandal. Put the two pictures together. Do you look comparable? The lighting, the hair, the makeup, the clothing, the quality. If not, it's not industry standard. It's not. So you have to have handled all the things that are within your control before somebody says, hey, want a meeting? Right? Let's talk about why having an agent isn't enough and what else is in your ballpark. And this is actually quite a relief because it takes all of the power out of the agent's hands and puts it back into your hands. Okay? Remember, heat is what continually gets you auditions. You're getting callbacks, or you're just plain old-fashioned auditioning well. You have a $1 million look that looks like television. People are not going to have to work hard to put you on TV. You look like the people on TV already when you come into the auditions, right? You have all that heat, right? Here's the next piece. You want to be able, every time you go in for a casting director, to invite them to something to see you. Even if it's a little card, the link to your new website with your new reel. Even if it's just a reading, you have to always have a place for them to come and get excited about your work. Always. I have agents and managers who I pay a lot of freaking money. If I'm not hot, they can't get me auditions. If I'm not working, if I'm not sending out my monthly newsletter and letting people know what I'm up to, right? Because when you book other acting work, I don't care if it pays or not. Readings, workshops, what that says to people in the industry is you're actually in the industry and wanted. And people who are in the industry and wanted are eventually going to make me some money. So I always say to actors, instead of calling your agent and begging them every week to send you out, do something yourself. And let me tell you something, when you create something yourself, your agent hops to it. You're like, oh shit, you got yourself a lead in that opera. It's going to get a New York Times review. Oh shit. You're doing a night of you've rented a space and you're doing your solo show or excerpts from your solo show. Oh shit. And you sent that out. It says to that agent, I'm working. You best be working. I'm working to make myself hot. How are you working to get your 10%? And let's divvy up here about agents and managers. What they do, how they work, what the rules are for them. An agent is licensed. Just like you're going to be an accountant or a lawyer. In order to become an agent, you have to get an agent's license. Who just joined us?
Oh, LaTanya.
Hi, LaTanya.
Hi. Hi, everybody.
We're talking about the difference between agents and managers. So an agent is licensed. They have to get a license to practice. It is regulated by the agents are regulated by the union. They're regulated by professional standards, right? There are rules that they cannot break, right? Managers are not. Agents can't take more than 10%. They're regulated. Agents have to submit you, right? That's their job. Managers cannot legally submit you to a casting director. Only an agent can do that. So an agent is like a temp agency. They get these breakdowns every day. They're like 60 pages. The breakdowns, they go through them and they submit their clients, like big numbers, right? So they're doing 40, 50 submissions a day. That's a lot of work. That's the bulk of their day. They're hoping that the heat that you have and the relationships that you already have with these people are enough to get you an audition. That's all agents do. That's it. If you have an exceptional agent who loves your dirty drawers, they might pick up the phone. But not likely. They've got too many clients and too much stuff. That's what managers are for. Managers exist to manage your career. They do all the things that an agent wouldn't. They keep their relationships with casting directors strong, right? They take them to lunch. They chat about new clients. They ask them about their projects. Managers know what pilots are coming down the pipeline and who's casting. They've gotten the script early. Managers have big, sexy, money-making clients. Most managers have like 1 or 2 clients that are like their cash cows. That client works all the time in television and film. Guess what? As a result of that client working all the time in television and film, that manager has been negotiating with lots of powerful casting directors. They have relationships, right? Their client who works all the time, the manager is reading those scripts. The manager already knows what big projects are out there, right? The manager is looking strategically at putting the pieces together. I know this is coming down the pipeline. One client's booked in there. Which other clients can I get in there? Since I already have one client booked to do that pilot, I've already been talking to the casting director. I bet you once I talk about his contract that was already in the pilot, I can say, hey, I have 4 other people who are right for this role and this role and this role. You're more likely to get that audition. Because the manager is not bogged down with going through breakdowns, sorting out. They're counting on the agent to do that. Now, a lot of times my manager does go through the breakdown. She knows what the hell is going on. She is serious business. She manages my team of agents, from commercial to literary to my acting agents. She picks up the phone and goes, did you guys submit her for such and such? If not, do it. Followed up with a phone call. I've already made a phone call saying to expect a submission for her. Once you submit it, wait 2 days, call them back for a time. In the interim, I will have called them again if you don't have a time yet. That's what my manager does. She supervises the team. Right? They may be busy. That's why some agents don't like managers. Because managers are like, I got work for you to do. Here's the plan for my client. Right? The manager is keeping up with the 4 or 5 different people that you have to work with. If you have a good manager, they've gotten you an agent, and you'd actually never really need to talk to those agents unless it's like over Christmas cake, once a year. That's your manager's job, to keep them on their toes, right? Who's always like, hey, she makes money. You don't make money, I'll make money, right? So those are the differences. A manager can be strategic. I'd be a good manager if I wasn't a coach and an actor and a writer. I know how to follow up and be like, wow, I got so-and-so in this pilot, but if I team up with this person, I can talk to that casting director when I have lunch with them and then maybe get this director to see that. Hey, that's what a manager does. They do business strategy. And if you're another one of these actors who's like, I just want to think about the art, then you better get a manager who's strategic. And not all managers are strategic. Managers are their own sort of thing because they're not regulated. So there are a lot of people who are bullshit managers. They are not regulated. It's up to you to do your research and build that relationship before you sign a piece of paper saying, I'm going to give you 15% of everything I make, including which is what managers ask for. So they better be working hard, right? Most managers and casting directors are obligated to tell you when they get you an audition, this casting director requested to see you. My manager's even better at it. She forwards the email to me, so that I know I'm hot enough for a manager, for a casting director to request me. If it's something they fought for to get me, because they're smart business people, they'll say, we really teamed on this. And that's what my manager calls it, teaming. When the agent and the manager work together and synchronize their efforts to get you an audition. Okay? They're gonna tell you when they do that, because they're earning their 25%, right? But an agent by themselves is not going to do it. So if you don't have good relationships with casting directors, having an agent ain't going to get you on-camera auditions. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. So the whole makeup of this class is, how do I get an agent that gets me auditions? Is you learn to team and you make yourself hot. And making yourself hot is not difficult. So you're not in a reading, okay? Are there any open mic nights where you can go and do some spoken word? Shows your work. Are you working on a script or a play that you can read excerpts at an open night? There you go. There's tons of theaters all over the city who are like, we're having a night of one act, so can I come and read my play out loud? Just every 2 weeks, have some place for people to come and see that you are a working actor. And keep inviting those casting people. It will build relationships, right? If you've got something great for somebody to come see you in, you send them a postcard, you then follow up a week later with email, then you follow with phone call. It's targeting. And I'm gonna say, pick 3 people in a 3 to 6 month period to target. And I mean really target them. I mean really build a relationship, right? You should be Facebook friends and know what their kids look like. Use social media to be social. Use it to build friendships that are casual and light and fun. And then Google them and find out where they're teaching. Find out what they're casting. Go see things that a casting director you've targeted has cast. And try and see it on opening night, even if you don't only go to the party, right? Go see the show in previews, then go to the after party, sneak in, and congratulate that casting director on that casting their project. It's not hard. You just have to start looking at your career as a business. And you have to dispense with this idea that I don't like business. You just have to let go of that. And you have to make your own work if you feel like your creative juices are not being used by auditioning. Make your own work. And making your own work will only make you sexier to casting directors and agents. Right? You don't need a production to have some place for somebody to come see you work. Do you send out newsletters once a month of what you're up to? If there's nothing for you to be up to, find something to be up to. Find something to be up to. I don't care if you volunteer to read stage directions. Volunteer to read stage directions at New York Theater Workshop for the public. Volunteer to read stage directions at little tiny theaters. Because if you read stage directions enough, eventually you're going to get cast. And once a month, let people know what you're up to. You have to create the heat. All it is you being creative. If you don't want to make your own work, do a Kickstarter and hire somebody to make it for you. A short film in your apartment. Keep it simple. Right? If you make work and vehicles for yourself, you'll be hot. And then every time you get in front of these casting directors that you've targeted, you can give them a postcard to what you're up to. It doesn't matter if they don't come. What matters is that every time they see your ass, you're giving them some event to come to. Right? I had a casting director say that to me. They're like, I've got like 5 postcards from you in the last 3 months. What, you are working? I was like, that's right. I'm a working actor. She calls me in. It doesn't matter. I was doing readings, 1-day readings, a couple of workshops. It doesn't matter. I'm working, and I'm letting the world know that I'm working. It's the business. It's the business. So all the time that you're stressing and confection, you could be doing the business, right? Because when you're doing the business, it makes you sexy. When you have an agent and you're doing the business, that says to the agent, I better get off my ass and get you some auditions because this bitch is working. Swear to God. It truly does. Because the only thing the agents hate more than, why can't you get me seen for that? Is, so I talked to this director that I've worked with, and they wanted me to come in and audition for this part, and I wasn't submitted for it. But I'm going to go in, and I'm going to need you to negotiate that. You have to audition on your own, right? From your targeting. And that agent is now having to negotiate a job for you that you got for yourself and they didn't get for you. Which technically, you don't have to commission if you don't want to. That will make that agent get up off their ass and get you some more fucking auditions. Promise, swear to God, because nobody wants to get dropped. All agent contracts have a 90-day out, right? If you don't book in 90 days, they can drop you. If they don't book you in 90 days, you can drop them. This is a business, people. And you'll stop beating yourself up once you recognize that, and you can sit down and think strategically about, all right, who am I going to target first? How am I going to target them? What does TV ready look like physically? What does TV ready look like from my skill set? How do I create a showcase for myself? How do I make myself hot? All those things are a thought out plan that in the next 6 months you could nail down if you really focused on it. So that by the time pilot season hit, you were already hot. And you don't have to take the 5 years that I took doing my solo show. Now, mind you, in the interim, I was doing those mailings. I was getting work in New York City because I was doing marketing and mailings and going to theaters and building relationships and putting myself in front of people and volunteering to do readings. Like as my eyeballs were coming out, I was doing so many readings and starving. Right? That's how you make yourself hot. Liesl Tommy just directed Eclipse on Broadway. Liesl Tommy and I were doing readings like it was going to stop. We were starving. But it makes you hot, and it makes people give you jobs, right? And we only got them because we hustled. Not getting enough readings? Go see some readings. Introduce yourself to the director. You have to create venues for yourself to do work. Plain and simple. And on the other side of that, you have to then be working on your marketing and your look, and you have to be working with a coach to learn how to use the camera. Because when you do finally get that audition, and it's a relationship you spent last 3 months building, if you don't come in and kill at the audition, meaning all the things that are within your control are covered, all of your hard work was for nothing. All of it. Right? You finally got a casting director you've been targeting to call you in, and you don't have an agent. They call you in for an audition, and you do really shitty work. Well, you don't have an agent to say, oh, they were having an off day. To that casting director's mind, they gave you a shot and you couldn't handle it. That was a risk. That's a risk they can't afford to make again, right? Because unsigned actors are a risk. We have no information about how this person is going to perform on the set. Are they going to be able to find their mark? Do they know how to take direction? Are they going to show up on time? Do they know the drill? Do they know how this works? We have no knowledge, which is why people only call in actors who have agents. Because an agent's a licensed entity. They're only going to hire professionals. And they are vouching for you, right? Agents act as that barrier to the professional world to separate the amateurs from the professionals, which is why you need an agent. Yeah? So, on your side, you're going to be pulling together your targeting. You're going to be pulling together your marketing and your packaging. When I say marketing, I mean all the things that you need to sell yourself as an actor. Your headshot, your resume, your reel, your audition look, your audition outfits, your website, your IMDb, your entire web presence, as well as bi-monthly, I prefer monthly, but bi-monthly updates going out to the world. And you sharing that on social media. You have to create the illusion of you being hot. And eventually it will be true. That's a lot of work. But it works. It works. Every time I send out a newsletter, I get a job. I mean, I know it sounds crazy. Every time I send out a newsletter, I get a job. Sent out last month's newsletters. Within 24 hours, I had 3 workshops paying 1 newsletter. Because I don't just send out 1 newsletter a year. I send out newsletters every month with real stuff, right? Real stuff, right? My look is right for TV. I know how to handle the camera. I always coach before I go into auditions, so I've had rehearsal time. You know, I've worked out the voice and speech. I practice Scandal scenes and Downton Abbey scenes regularly. I'm on my game. It's a lot of work. It's how it's played, though, right? And here's the other piece of why it's played this way. Because of the economy, most on-camera roles are already out on offer to people who already have TV shows. So you may be auditioning for something they already have on offer. That's okay. Go in and audition well. Because Viola can't be everywhere all the time. Neither can Carrie. One day, I'm going to get it. They called me in for the audition, right? That means you're on standby if they liked you. So being prepared and knowing your game, especially if you're of a certain age, people expect you to know how to audition and have your look pulled together and bring it. in the room, right? Even if you don't have credits. And if you're of a certain age and you don't have credits, okay, if you're 22 with no credits, that's one thing. If you're 35 with no credits, people are like, so everything else about you has got to be dope. You got to be you've got to look like a movie star already, right? And you have to have this targeting strategy in place to build those relationships, your marketing, which is your paper and your web, as well as you and your look, right? If you're targeting, your marketing. These are all the things that are within your control. And finally, how to audition for the camera effectively. How to audition for all the genres that you're right for, all the shows that you're right for. And to put yourself on a schedule of practicing how to handle that copy. Shonda Rhimes' copy is completely different from the newsroom. Different pace, different language. House of Cards is different from Orange is the New Black. Different pace, different content, different language, less character, more subtlety, more nuance. They're completely different. If you are those shows are your targets and you've never worked in that material, how are you going to be great in an audition? You're not. You have to practice it. And Shonda does not play. You are speaking at the speed of light, and usually you get the sides the night before. So if you haven't mastered an on-camera technique, you're not going to get it the night before an audition. You have to be working that out. And I'm going to tell you, everything comes the night before. Almost everything. If you don't have an on-camera technique and you haven't been practicing on camera, and I'm not talking about with your friends and your other unemployed actors, I mean with an acting coach who, one, knows how to teach, two, knows the industry right now because they're working in the industry right now. And they clearly have a technique that they're talking you through. Plain and simple, right? I've outlined a bunch of great things for you. Targeting, the memorization, putting your look together, how to make yourself sexy. When you decide to pick a coach, make sure you're getting just that amount of clarity, just that volume of information. I spent a lot of money on coaches. A couple of them were casting directors for really big shows that I wanted to be on. And she didn't know what the fuck she was doing, and she took my $250. And I was like, one, she can't teach. She's never been an actor. She's a casting director. They're not teachers, and they're not actors. They just know the end result. They don't know how to teach you how to get there. And God love my acting teachers. You know, they haven't worked in the industry in 40 years. Why? Because schools will not hire actors who want to go off and do TV and film. Because it means their students are going to be left hanging. So that means anybody that's teaching in a university can't work outside the university. Maybe they can do summer stock. Which means they don't know how to handle copy from Orange is the New Black. Because they ain't been out here working. It's a conundrum, right? They also don't teach on camera technique, right? Even if they have casting directors. Casting directors are like, talk slower, talk faster. Duh, no. Be bigger, be smaller. That's not a technique. That's something that will make you crazy and make you suck, right? And there are plenty of sexy, fierce coaches out here who are also working in the industry right now. Those are your tools, man. Those are your tools. Those are your tools. I've been giving you tons of free stuff for you to map out these tools. Next week, by popular demand, I'm going to teach a class. It's a 2-hour workshop. Okay? How to get an agent who will fight for you so you can book jobs. And we're going to go in detail into this targeting, and I'm going to walk you through it. One step at a time, week by week for 14 days, and 14 weeks, and what you need and how to set that up. We're going to talk about how to deal with different kinds of copy, okay, different kinds of audition text, and how to prepare for an audition, right? Okay, we're going to play around with that a little bit. And then we're going to talk about your marketing package, what it needs to look like in order for you to actually get a meeting, right? to actually get a casting director to remember you, because you're going to give them the press kit after you take the class with them. That's the point of contact. Our press kits. Your press kit is your headshot, your resume, your reel, your industry contact list, all in a folder, right? Your industry contact list is everybody you've ever met in the industry. Those people vouch for you, right? If a casting director is thinking of calling you in and they have your press kit, they're going to go through that industry contact list, and they're going to call some of those casting directors and be like, do they bring it every time they walk in the door? The casting director will be like, yes. They're your references. See how this is just like a job, just like anything else? So if you were trying to run away from the real world and jobs by becoming an actor, sorry, it's a job. It's a job paying you a lot of money. You want to step for 4 hours and you're making $20,000? Please. It's a business worth you learning the business, because it pays you so much money when you book. So let that go. Let that go that you can't do business. Of course you can do business. You learn an acting technique. That's business, right? Learn to think about the people whose attention you want to hire you to audition, what they need. What does your client need? They need you to bring it. What do you need to do to bring it? That's what I'm going to talk about in this class. I'll give you a workbook. I'm going to hash it out.
Oh, shut up.
And according to everyone's request, I'm making it dirt cheap, because all the classes this year were $2.99. This class will be $39.99, 100% money back guarantee. I've created this class in response to what you've asked me, right? It's summertime. I can afford to give you that time, right? And I want you to be sexy. I want you to hit pilot season working it, not like last year where you went out for 2 pilots or no pilots. And you watched other people going in for pilots. Or you watched pilots this season and you saw tons of roles for yourself and actors acting badly in those roles. And you were like, I could have done that. Do you want to spend this pilot season going, I could have done that? Or do you really want to be in the room doing that? That's a question you ask yourself, right? For $39.99 with a money back guarantee, you have nothing to lose and everything to gain. That's all I got, sexy people. I will now take questions.
Okay. What's the best way to get into a reading?
You need to figure out whose work you really like, and then Google that person and find out where they're having a reading. Lots of playwrights are playwrights in residence, lots of places, right? I'm a playwright in residence at New York Theater Workshop, right? Marcus Gardley, he's a playwright in residence at Arena Stage. He's a playwright in residence at the New Dramatists. He's a playwright in residence at the Lark. I've been a playwright. Most playwrights have developmental organizations and or residencies for playwrights, meaning if they have a residency, that playwright does all their readings there. That's one way. Figure out whose work, a playwright whose work you love, or figure out a theater whose work you love, and then start going to their readings. They're all posted on their websites. Right? New York Theater Workshop has Mondays at 3, Second Stage posted on their websites. I've got a question from D. So how do we get casting agents? You target them, right? You Google them. You look at the shows that you're right for. You see who's casting it. And then you target them. You Google them and find out where they're going to be for the next 14 weeks. And you need some FaceTime with them, right? Right? 14 weeks of contact every 2 weeks. 2 of those points of contact need to be FaceTime where you are working in front of them. Readings are exactly the same way. You have to go to a bunch of readings. After every reading, walk up to the director, the playwright, and whoever the artistic director is of that organization and tell them something you loved about the work. Not something you made up. That was so good when she did that dialect. Oh my God, kill me now. I want to cut you. Seriously, no. It has to be genuine. It has to be specific. Really, what did you learn about the work from that reading? Do not leave that reading without making contact with the people who can potentially give you a job. And it doesn't mean walking up to them saying, I want a job. It just means going up and saying something amazingly deep, profound, and heartfelt to them. Right? Casting directors, seminars. but not just seminars one-off. This is all in the newsletters I've been sending you. This is all stuff I'm going to go through. And a lot of people don't like to read, so that's why I'm doing a class, so I can talk you through it. But casting directors all teach all over the city. But going to one casting director and thinking they're going to call you in because you went to see Ross Meyerson at Actors Connection last February, this is a recipe for disaster. That's a waste of your money. If you can't get in front of this casting director at least twice within a 14-week period, then paying for one class is not going to help you because they're not going to remember you, right? Relationships are built in a tight time frame with lots of contact. More questions? Yes, no, maybe so. Well, if you're on the members only page, if you scroll down all of the information about next week's class, it'll be 2 hours. It has a limit to how many people can join, and it's cheap, so it's probably going to fill up fast. So registration will be for the next 7 days unless we fill up before then. You can buy the recording or you can buy the live class. Buy the live class and you get to ask me questions and you get to send me your work and let me look at it and give me feedback. You can say, oh, here's my resume. Oh, what do you think of that? Oh, here's my reel. Can you take a look? Give me that. Take advantage of the summer when I'm giving you all this love, folks. Because the fall, I will be gone. I'm already booked 2 acting jobs. I'm gone. So take advantage of the summer. I usually take the summer off to sort of write and chillax. Right now, I'm looking for a house and I want to kill myself. But otherwise, my work life is about, like, let me just give and wake up this morning and think about what's on my mind. And that's why I've been writing these blogs. And I think 2 or 3 days from now, you're going to get a video blog. You're going to get a couple of video blogs. If you could do this targeting thing on your own, do it. If you feel like you need a helping hand, take next week's class. It'll be just like this. You can do Zoom. You have the option with Zoom. If you download the app, you do it on your laptop, you can actually share screens with me and I can see you and you can see me. It's how I coach people. Any more questions? I can talk about this forever. Yes? No? No chat questions? All right.
I have a question.
Okay.
If we wanted to do online coaching with you, is it we have to find out your rates through your website?
My standing rate is $300 an hour. That's why I give away a lot of food. Okay.
Okay.
I do have packages. So if you're interested.
Do you have a rate page or no?
But, well, for my packages, you have to do an interview with me. It's free.
Okay.
If that's something you're interested in. Why don't you, are you on a computer where you can type in your email address?
Yeah, but I didn't download the app, but I can go through, I think I have your website.
Or you can just email me, AprilYvetteThompsonCoaching@gmail.com. Who am I speaking to?
Okay.
In my database? Who am I speaking to?
My name is Rue.
Rue. And what's your email in my database?
Safi Mambo.
What?
But I have to, it's Safi Mambo. I have to.
Just email me. You can respond.
Okay, I'll email you.
Yeah, you can respond to the email I sent you. It goes right to my email address. And
okay, all right.
You can set up an interview for packages because I'm hardcore. So you should have an interview with me to see if you want to coach with me.
Okay, no problem.
All right. Any other questions? Great. This has been fun, you guys. I'm glad we could Zoom. All right. Have a good one, y'all. Take care.
All right. Thank you, April.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for your help. Bye.
My pleasure.